Welcome to Eight Questions with. It's Hump Day, everybody. I'm your host, Patrick from Have Cheetah Will View. I don't know where the cheetah's at right now. I heard some noise downstairs. That may be that he's raiding the chicken. I don't know, but I know he's down there somewhere, causing havoc. I can hear him. Uh, Tonight's guest is young actor, director, screenwriter Chad Rick Whitmire. Is it Whitmire or Whitmire?
Whitmire.
Whitmire. So he's going to be here talking about his career. We'll be starting the interview about 8 o'clock or so. We're here early because we're just wanting to kick it for a little bit. I guess the one thing I heard about today was I heard that comedian Norm Macdonald, passed away. He was 61 years old and he died of cancer. I guess he had some sort of cancer. I guess it sounds like, I'm just guessing, of course, but he said he had cancer for 9 years, and the only cancer I could think of he could have had that he could have lasted so long was most likely had prostate cancer. Just a guess, but I'm thinking that. That's a shame. It's weird. It's weird. It's like I just never found him very funny. I don't know if you know who he is, but he used to be on Saturday Night Live, and then he used to have a talk. He used to have a TV show, Norm, and then he did some other things too. But I just never found him funny. I feel sort of guilty about that, but it's true, and I've always said that, because when people talk about comedians, they say Norm Macdonald, and I'm like, oh God, no. I just never found him funny. Just never got it. But like I wrote earlier, he may not have been funny to me, but if he lasted 9 years with cancer, he was a fighter. And he also was very candid. I was reading about that. He was I guess he had a severe gambling problem. And like he said that he gambled and lost all his money away 3 different times. And the most money he ever lost was $400,000. Could you imagine playing poker and playing for that kind of money? I mean, even if you had it, why would you play for that much money? That's just absolutely bonkers. So he passed away, unfortunately. Rest in peace. What about you, Chadwick? You have any favorite comedians? I mean, ever just turn on a funny movie or watch a stand up?
I was into Cat Williams for a while. I
Yeah,
bought a
that was
bunch of
funny.
different. Yeah, he was pretty funny. I bought like 3 DVDs. I just went on this binge of Cat Williams one time and ended up with 3 of his DVDs. Um, but I like him, and Bob Saget's pretty funny.
Yeah, Bob Saget. Yeah, he's pretty profane. I mean, so's Cat Williams. But it's a good thing. Is the fact that you haven't heard about Cat Williams in a long time. So that's actually a good thing because it seemed like every time he did, he was getting himself in trouble.
And it was
And
in Gainesville.
is he from Gainesville?
I don't think he's from Gainesville, but I know he got in trouble in Gainesville in
Oh,
Hall
he
County.
got in trouble in everywhere. Uh, I think the last thing I heard from him was like years ago. It's like another little obscure comedian, Andy Dick. The
Oh
guy's
God.
funny. The guy's funny, but he just can't keep out of trouble. But you haven't heard from him lately, and that's good news. It's like when you don't hear from somebody like that, you're like, that's awesome because that means they must be doing their job. They're not causing havoc or just self-destructing or so that's good. You sort of like, okay, I haven't heard from Cat. I know he had a lot of problems. I do believe that he had a lot of problems. He got arrested many times. He got beat up on camera by some 15-year-old. He started a fight with a 15-year-old kid, and the 15-year-old kid I don't think he knew who he was. I don't think the kid knew who Cat Williams was. He just saw someone trying to pick on him, and he defended himself. Um, I guess that happens too, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm just, you never want to see anybody getting in trouble. You want to see them have a good career. Um, my friend Mike, he just posted a little promo for himself that they're doing a movie, Alien Hunter Busters or something like that, and he's going to be working with Andy. They've been trying to get together on a project for years, and just things just weren't working out. But I finally got it. I think it's Alien Vampire Hunters or some crap like that. Some, it's just a goofy B movie. It's going to be goofy. But you know what?
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, if he's working, that's awesome. I mean, he's not getting in trouble. Well, it says we have 3 people waiting or in the chat. Come on in and say hello to Chadrick and myself and the Cheetah. Uh, we thank you for showing up. We're going to get this going here in a few minutes. Hopefully, some of you guys will come in and if you can, share us out. That would be awesome if you guys could share us out a little bit. Uh, let's see if I can share us out to somebody. Yeah, I think I can. Oh, I'm learning how to share out. I have a lot of places to do it, but I'm trying. I'm learning. Um, like I share us out to Reddit. Our friend Kevin K from Tuber Chat, he started a Reddit group and for Tuber Chat, and he allows us to go over there and share out our streams or our streams or maybe some a post or something we've done. And so I go over there, and the first thing I do is I share it out to Reddit, and then lately I've been sharing it out to Tumblr. I don't know if anybody sees it because I really never go on Tumblr, but I'm hoping, hey, if I just get 1 or 2 people to see it, I'm happy with that. That let's see, where else can I send this to? Oh, I know I can send this to. I'll send this to our friends over in the Midnight Hour. Oh, so did you shoot anything today? What did you do with yourself today? I know you were. I saw.
Today, I just really just did some thinking on where I want to go with my 4th installment of the Malcolm series. I made the first one. I have written and cast the second and third one, and now I'm trying to figure out where to go with the 4th one.
Yeah, I don't see that happening very much anymore. The web series format. I don't know why people abandoning that. It's either they abandon it or I'm not looking in the right place. But I personally feel the web series format is still a vibrant and very important way to put a film out. I mean, why not? If you could film it and edit it, I mean, I think maybe some people are going to Vimeo. I mean, that could be it. I mean, some people like Vimeo. I mean, I think that's more like the filmmaker's website. If I think there's more content there that's aimed toward independent filmmaking. But still, if you can make a series, because there's other people who've done it. There's other people. I mean, the Epic Rap Battles of History guys, Pete and Epic Lloyd, they do that. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but they started a series, and basically what it is just rap battles. But it's like, but they just took over, and they keep doing it. I'm not sure if they're doing it now. I'm not. It seems like they just do it once in a great while, but I think they had like 4 or 5 seasons where they put out like 10 videos or 14 videos per season, something like that. And then it just blew up. They absolutely blew up. They used the web series format, and they blew up. And I've heard there's other people that have done it. I know during a long time ago when YouTube first started, I know that Scrubs did it to bridge the season between seasons 7 and 8. They wanted to introduce some new interns and new faces to the show, so they created a web series. interns. So they just created a web series, and it was very good. It was interesting. I wouldn't say it was really good, but I say it was really interesting. So yeah, I totally get it. I mean, why not? You can get your show up on there. Of course, the most important thing though is you got to promote it. Hi, Professor Fox and Dr. B are in the house. Hello, hello, hello. We're just talking about web series on YouTube's. Um, uh, I don't know. I should type some in. I should type some. I should do that. I should type some in and see if they even have any. Um, because I should do that. I should look at that.
Yeah, I always said that I wasn't going to make a web series. That I wouldn't be good at writing it because I was good at writing shorts pretty much
Right.
and a feature that I've been working on. And then when I did the first one, I was like, okay, let's go for a second one. And then I was like, let's go for a third one. And then I said, we may as well just turn this thing into a web series. I said, I guess I can write a little bit better than I thought I could.
Yeah, you can plan it out, and I think not only that, but you can upload it. You could go ahead and you can learn how to. You can learn. Basically, you're learning as you go. What a perfect way to do it too. You go ahead and you learn how to film. You learn how to edit. You learn how to photograph. I mean, you can get it put it up online. You get constructive feedback from it. You can work on your screenwriting. It's out there. I mean, it's out there for people, and your peers mostly to see it. And then after that, then you take what they give you as far as feedback goes, and then you take that back with you, and then you just go ahead and incorporate that, and then come back with more. As you know, I am a huge advocate for short films. Not only do I love the short film format, but I think it's absolutely essential that directors do short films before they do features. Any director that walks up to me and says, "Here's my first movie," and I ask them, "Did you do any short films?" No, I just jumped into my feature films. I can already tell you, I'm not going to be very confident with it. As a reviewer, I'm not going to be confident with it. Um, especially a one that does screenwriting and directing for the first time in a feature film. That is so much. This is so much. It's just heavy. That's a heavy workload. Greetings, Phil. You might hear some thunder here in a minute. Greetings, Phil. It is. It's our buddy Phil here. Feel free to share us out if you care to. Phil's always good for a share out. Phil's creepy vids, always supportive of the community, and he will send us a blast out. And it is about time for us to get this thing going for sure. Let's get this party started. So, Chadwick, let's go back to the beginning. Where were you born and raised at?
I was actually born in Douglasville, Georgia, and I moved to Roswell, Georgia, for a little while till I was just a couple years old, and then I moved to South Carolina. At that point, Greenville, South Carolina, basically, and
Okay.
I lived there until I was around 9, and then I moved to a place called Blue Ridge, Georgia, and that's where I graduated high school.
Now, were you a creative? Have you always been a creative?
I did theater. I did community theater. I did high school theater. I did theater in middle school. I started writing probably the 7th grade. I remember is when I first would sit down and format a script on just regular paper. I don't even remember how I learned how to format them, but I started writing in the 7th grade.
Now, did you write a journal first, or did you just start? Did you just skip that and or short stories, or did you just go ahead and start doing scripts?
What I normally do is I write a short story and then turn that short story into a script. That's normally my process.
Who did you like to read when you were younger? Because I think people are. I mean, did you read a lot of different writers? Did they influence you?
Uh, the only person that really influenced me the most writer wise was Kevin Williamson. Uh,
The director of Scream, or
because
the screenwriter of Scream, right?
yes, I'd become obsessed with that movie. I was obsessed with when I was a kid. I was obsessed with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I was obsessed with Scream. When that movie came out, it's like it changed my life.
Yeah, that's a polarizing movie, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. I still love it to this day. I'm not
Oh,
too big on the sequels and all that, but the original one, I love it.
how old were you when you first saw Scream?
I was 8
8. Yeah.
because it came out in '96, and I was born in 1988.
Now, have when's the last time you watched the first Scream?
The last time I watched it was probably about a little less than a year ago.
Uh, so did you still hold? Does it still hold the same? Do you still have the same love for it today as you did back then, or have you? Did you look? Do you look at it differently now than when you
Not
first did?
really. Not really. I just remember it seems like it was one of the first horror films I ever saw in a movie theater. So it's always going to have a special place for me because I saw The Curse of Michael Myers in the
Yes.
movie theater, and I saw Scream. Those were the two that I saw when I was a kid. I mean, I saw movies, of course, that were on VHS, but as to the movie theater, those are the two that I remember the most.
Um. So but you started writing when you were about so when you're about you said junior high when you started writing.
Yes.
So what movies did you like back then? I mean, junior high. I mean, you saw Scream at 8, but what I mean, did you? When was how old were you when you really understood what you were actually watching?
How old I what
I
when I
mean,
first started realizing what I was watching, I was probably around 12
yeah,
when I realized that um, it was fun to watch horror movies, but you didn't really think about what goes along with like the people that get killed, like thinking about their families and how they feel and all the feelings that are involved in the movie. I was probably around 12 when I started grasping. I was like, that's kind of horrible.
you know what? You know what's funny? You still feel that way today when you watch a horror movie?
I do.
Yeah,
I'll
me too.
sit and think about all kinds of different things, like how's their family feel about
Yeah,
that?
I'm very much like that too. I know a lot of horror fans. You know, if you watch all their reviews of all the movies and all that, very rarely do you ever hear someone comment. You know, because everybody's sitting about talking about the icons. You know, Chucky and Michael Myers and Freddy and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they always talk about the killers, and they always talk about like you'll see people ranking their kills and all that, and you want to go back and you want to sit there and look at them and go like, try to put yourself in their shoes for a minute. Like, think about how horrible it would be. Here these people are. They're not doing anything wrong to anybody, and they're being slaughtered. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of just sitting there and cheering it on, see, this is the problem I had with Scream. See, that's the big problem I had with Scream was like when I saw that movie, I would have went the same thing with everybody else. We thought it was going to be a horror comedy. But for me, that very first kill of Drew Barrymore, oh my God, brutal. Just absolutely brutal. Just took me right out of that movie. It never got back in it. Took me right out of it. The kill was just absolutely vicious. And I just there was no joy in it at all. Because it was so raw. If it had just been like someone hit her over the head with a shoe or something like that, and it was a quick cutaway, all right, yeah, or maybe, or they, something, like an accident, like, she ran and tripped over the rake and fell on it or something, running away from the killer. I get that, but the way they did it with her, and how her parents were involved in it, it just took me out of it. You couldn't help but feel for that girl. She was dying a horrible death, and you just couldn't not feel for her.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I mean, I just, that was the problem with that movie for me, was like, I did feel for her. I did have empathy for her, and I don't know if horror fans actually. I don't know if all of them are desensitized. I mean, that's something for you as a director or a screenwriter to figure out. I mean, when you write your screenplays, whether to include that empathy into your characters. Hey, video game lover, how are you? Um, so what was the first thing you wrote? I mean, do you remember the first thing you wrote in junior high? Did you keep it?
I did not keep it, but it was about I always wrote horror or thriller, stuff like that. And it was about uh Thanksgiving Thanksgiving Day Killer or something like that. That was the first one. And then I transitioned into trying to write supernatural, but I just wasn't good at it at all. I was just better at writing horror and thrillers.
Whew. You probably can hear that rain in the background. We're getting pounded right now. Um, can you hear that? And can you hear the rain in my window?
I can hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was a dark and stormy night. The most One of the most prolific writers I know started off every story with that line. So now you're in junior high. Now you're also not only writing, but now you're acting. So what do you like doing the best? I mean, what was the, do you like writing more, or do you like acting more? What challenges you the most?
What challenges me the most is acting, because writing comes very easy and natural to me. I just feel like I was meant to be a writer, but acting is a little bit challenging, which I love the challenge. Don't get me wrong. I love acting. I've wanted to do it since I was about 3 years old when I used to run around and say I want to be Burt Reynolds. I think I told y'all that one night on the midnight hour about how uh, I think it was Evening Shade or something like that. That I guess my mom used to watch it when I was a kid,
Right,
and
right, right. Yep.
and I always wanted. I used to say I want to be Burt Reynolds when I grow up because I couldn't say his name right.
I think a lot of guys wanted to beat Burt Reynolds because he was pretty popular there for a minute. I think he was like the number one movie star for like 3 or 4 years there.
Oh wow.
Uh, oh, hey, Tiffany saying acting is so repetitive. So many takes. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe with maybe with Stanley Kubrick, but um, so now you're acting, and now you're in junior high. I mean, what did you think of the process? I mean, was it hard for you to memorize line? Did anybody take it really seriously, other than you?
No, it was. If I had to say, growing up in Blue Ridge, it was an artsy kind of community to begin with. Like if you weren't in band or played football, you acted. That's pretty much how it went.
Okay,
And I
so
wasn't a
you
football player and I wasn't a musician. So
so they took it pretty seriously. So it was good. I mean, you were learning as you go. You had peers that really wanted to do this.
yeah.
That always helps because a lot of people take a, I don't know how many actors I read their bios. They always sit there and say, I went here for one thing and end up just stumbling into acting. It wasn't something that they planned to do, and it sounds like it was something you always wanted to do.
It
So
was.
you had goals. You had goals really early.
I did. It was something I wanted to do for a long time. I actually had moved from. I lived with my grandmother at one point, and I moved to Blue Ridge with my dad to so I could actually be into acting because they knew that they had a drama club in middle school, and so they when they moved there, they knew that, so I moved there with them.
Now were they always were they creatives themselves, Chadwick? Your parents were they artists? Did they like paint or write themselves or
My stepmom, she paints, and my dad, he sings country music,
oh, okay.
but he never got really big with it or anything. But he does write songs.
That's okay. So you came from a family of creatives. That they must have. That's probably where you got it from, right? From definitely from your parents.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say they're your biggest influence?
Um, my biggest influence was probably Toby Hooper.
Okay, because of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes, I just
Yeah,
love that from such a young age. I don't remember how old I was the first time I watched it. I always say I was about 6 or 7. I remember seeing it on VHS, and of course, it had been out way before I was born.
right.
Um, so I know I saw it on VHS. I didn't see that movie in the theater.
The cheetah made an appearance here. I want to make sure he doesn't bite my cord. Yeah, sometimes. Uh, well, did you? I mean, I was pretty young. I was pretty young to be seeing those movies so young. I mean, how did your parents were okay with you watching them, huh?
They
Did you
were.
ask did you ask questions like, Mom, why do they do that, or did you just sit there and just like what was I mean, you have such a good memory for this. I mean, what was? Do you remember what you were watching? I mean, did you have any thoughts on it? I mean,
I really don't remember the thoughts I had at that time. It was one of those like it still shocked me.
mhm.
Like I was still scared and scared to go to sleep, and I think I loved that aspect of it more than
Yeah,
anything, being
I
scared.
was. Yeah, I was 12 when I saw Jaws for the first time, and yeah, I can still remember seeing it in the theater. And out when the little kid got it, I remember I had to leave the theater for a minute because I had never seen anything like that before, and it was like really shocking to me. It was like, holy cow, and it was it was just like, and it stayed with me for a long time, until I was older, and then I saw it again, and then I was able to process it a little bit better. Um, but that's as a filmmaker. I mean, have you rewatched those movies since you started becoming your writing and a director, and have you gone back and revisited those films to see what they did?
Oh, I've got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I've got their documentary. And I've seen a documentary like once. I do own it, but I've only seen it once. But I probably watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, maybe 4 times a year because it's still up there. That one and like I said, and Scream. But if I had to choose one that I could watch the rest of my life, it would definitely be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And hopefully somebody would let me watch part two to that because I did like part two because it
Yeah,
was
part
funny.
two was good. I mean, they had that. Yeah, they had that was. I know a lot of people get a lot of hate for that. I mean, they don't, for some reason they don't like the second one as much as the first one. But I thought both of them were pretty strong.
Yeah.
I thought they were both strong. They both had the first one definitely is epic. I mean, that's just. Yeah, I didn't see, actually I did not see that the first one until I was 17.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and then it was like, damn, it didn't affect me as much as it did a lot of other people, but because I was like 13 when I saw The Exorcist, and I thought it was there's a it didn't shock me. I wasn't really upset by it. My mom was sitting there like, how come you're not scared by that movie? And we're like, well, because I'm not. Yeah, I mean, it was a good movie, but I wasn't scared by it. Uh, yeah, sequels could definitely be good. I mean, some sequels like are really strong, and I guess that would be, like you're writing. You said you're writing a series, Malcolm, and I guess with every episode that you write is in a sense a sequel because you're carrying on your story. So I agree with that. I think sequels or chapters can be very good. Uh, so what? Talk to me about where did you learn how to where did you learn how to when did you get the idea that you wanted to become more than just an actor? When did you decide you want to become a director too?
Well, it actually happened one night. I was just laying in bed and I said, I want to get this movie made. And I'm talking about Barnes Funeral Home, which isn't my best work. And I've learned since that I'm not a director of photography. That's one thing I'm not.
Okay.
So I've learned that. But I wanted to make that movie. And
Okay.
I said, I'm going to figure out a way to do it. And I'm going to do it all by myself, pretty much. And that was my thought process, that I want to do it all by myself. I knew, of course, I can't do all the 9 actors in it, but um, I said I can film it, I can direct it, and I can definitely write it. Do I think the writing's really good? I think the writing's pretty good and solid with Barnes Funeral Home, but like I said, I'm not a director of photography. And if you see Barnes Funeral Home versus Changing Malcolm, you'll see a huge improvement in the visual aspect to it because I wasn't the one that did the DP work.
Yeah, I watched Barnes Funeral Home, and I have to say that, um, but like I said, before, it's like that's what short films are for. I mean, when you got in there and you wanted to do it by yourself, right? I
Right.
mean, did you have anybody that you could go to get advice from it? Did you have them come in there and say, just watch me, just watch over the shoulder, see what I do? Can you show me how to improve? I mean, there's a lot of directors that will, they want to do everything too, but uh, but they also are very much like yourself in the fact that they realize that maybe their strength doesn't lie in that, and then they turn around and they'll get a DP in there, or they'll get an editor in that, to do it for them. I mean, that's a sign of maturity as a director. I think is when you start delegating the work to other assistants. I think it's a sign of maturity. I thought Barnes Funeral Home was fine for what it was. I liked it. I saw what you were going with it. Um, yeah, I mean it's rough, but I'm not looking. I didn't expect to go in there and see masterpiece. I expected to see a young artist that was just learning his craft. Um, to learn how to direct actors and get the emotions on camera, and I think you were effective on that. I mean, you could definitely see where you wanted to go with it. um
Yeah.
do you watch it now? Have you watched it, and do you get encouraged by your work? Can you watch your work and be encouraged by it, or are you your own worst critic?
I'm definitely my worst critic. Definitely. Because I I started watching it and then after I edited it, I started watching it and I was like, I can't watch this. And then I tried to watch it again. And then finally I made myself sit and watch the whole thing through. And like you said, I was going a direction. I may have not quite hit that direction, but I was going in a direction and I did know where I was going. I just didn't know quite how to get there. But now I do. And that trick is a director of photography.
Well, like I said, I mean, I think it's a sign of maturity. It's a sign of growth to sit there and so you realize that, hey, I can't wear all the hats like you and I were mentioning right before the show. Like to me, is a director that tries to do too much without delegating, especially on a feature film. It's just a recipe for disaster. Um, I have reviewed over 500 films. I'm not an expert, but from the pieces of the films that I've watched with directors that have tried to do that, more often than not, they always crash. It's very rare for someone to walk in there and just, and sit there and do everything. Screenwrite, cast the crew, cast the cast, shoot the film. Some shoot it themselves. They use, they're the DPs, and then they'll try to edit it. And yeah, it's tough. It's a tough road, and it takes, like I said, it takes a skilled operator to turn around and sit there and say, "Hey, I can't do this by myself, and it's all right to go and ask for help until I gather the skills, until I gather the experience, because you will. I mean, you will, Chadwick. I mean, um, everything that you do is only going to make your work and your craft better. You know, everything that you do. Now you just got to make sure that you don't fall in the same trap that a lot of low budget directors fall into, and that is you want to make a movie before you're ready to make it. Have you been, is that a concern to you, or do you worry about that? Like, do you find yourself moving a little too fast in the process? And if so, how do you slow yourself down?
I slowed myself down basically because I was trying to get ahead of myself at one point, and I started writing this um, script called Construction Crews, and I was going to make it a feature. I still want to make it a feature at some point, but I've actually got a indie director, producer that's going to make that next month, and I wrote a shorter version for him. Um, but I think branching out into this whole web series thing, it took my mind in a different direction. And I said I can still stay with writing 10 to 12, about roughly 10 to 12 minutes of each episode.
Yeah, we talked about that. I also talked about that during pre-show. I love the idea that you're doing a web series. Like I said, I don't see them very often anymore. It used to be like there was a lot, people doing web series, but I don't see that format very often. Um, I mean, I know, like I mentioned, the guys from the Epic Rap Battles, but that was more like a series of songs. But it's still a web series. But as far as a dramatic or like a comedic series, no, I don't see that very often. No one's ever come up to me and say, "Hey, I'm doing a web series." I think it's just something that people think that maybe it's passe, which I think is wrong. I think web series are, I think they should be done more, to tell you the truth. Um, in a sense, it's probably cheaper to do a web series than it is a film on a short on film. Trying to print it out, trying to distribute it, to different places. I think if you just shot it strictly for YouTube or Vimeo, it's right there. Everybody come see it. You don't have to worry about like screeners or digital or anything else. You just sit there and say, I did a 12-part series. It's on YouTube. Go look it up.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. When I realized that I could actually write like that and stick to a certain thought, which is Malcolm, he is a certain thought. And when I realized I could do that, I felt better about myself as a writer because I was like, I know I can write a feature film. If I wanted to sit down and write a feature film, I could do it. I know I can write shorts. So it was kind of one of those things to where I was challenging myself. That's
Uh,
where it came from.
what exactly is Malcolm? Can you explain the character, the premise, where
The
the
whole
genesis of the
well,
idea?
the whole idea of Malcolm is he is schizophrenic and he's a serial killer that is basically motivated by this voice within him. So he does all these things and he don't in changing Malcolm, he gets fed up he gets really fed up. He's been fed up. He tries to take his medication, but he can't. The voice that talks to him, that, like I said, that's within him, will just talk him out of it. Like there's one part in Changing Malcolm where he says you'll give up after 2 or 3 days, and that's what he does. He just keeps trying to change, but the voice won't let him change. So that's the idea of the first one. The second one, I would kind of be spoiling it for everybody if I
You don't need to
told.
do that. Yeah, we don't want you to spoil it. So I mean, so he's a serial killer. He has, I mean, yeah, that's you know what? I know a lot of people say that's like M. Night Shyamalan did with Split, the split personalities. But I think I think it's always interesting to take a character like that and interject your experience into it. Like, what kind of research did you do for Malcolm? I mean, was it based on a true story or anybody or a story you read about?
Uh, Not really based on a story. It's just I normally write things about serial killers, but I don't really write things about serial killers with mental illness. And I actually have a friend that has some mental issues, and I decided to kind of write what he's talked about before, like telling him this, telling him that, and then this guy being inside him himself. So that's where that kind of came from.
Yeah, I mean, do you find it hard to write from a perspective of a serial killer? I mean, is it how do you get out of it after you write? And I mean, when you sit down to write, how long do you write per session? Do you write like 2 or 3 hours at a time, or do you write like a day at a time, or an hour at a time?
I normally write 7 pages at a time.
Okay, and how long does
And
it usually take you?
uh 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay,
Sometimes more if I sit there and I'm stuck on a line or something, and then I erase it and then write it, erase it and write it, erase it and write it. But
yeah,
it normally doesn't take me too long at all to write, because like I told you today, I sat and did some thinking. Just based my whole day around my thoughts, and so I know when I sit down, I pretty much know where I'm trying to go with it. So it doesn't take me that long as it normally would.
now, do you have a writers group that you're a part of? I mean, I know like you said that you're not that far away from Atlanta. There's probably a lot of movie people in your town in Gainesville. Do you have a writers group that you go with, and do you guys exchange each other's papers and offer insight?
No, not really. Um, there's a guy named Derek that when I write something that I feel really good about, I'll send it to him, and he'll look it over for me, because I always liked his work and I like what he does. So I'll send him mine, but not really. I started to kind of try to be a part of a group at one point, and then only a couple people showed up to the meeting, and then one guy flopped out, and then it was me and this other guy, and that's a long story that I won't get into on here. I'll talk to you about it sometime,
Okay,
but I just prefer to write by myself.
sure, sure. I get that. I can understand that. Yeah, I just know that some people when they do screenwriting, they'll have groups and they'll just go through it and exchange and ideas and whatnot. But not it doesn't work for everybody. So I get it. Um, what else have you written? I mean, as far as Malcolm goes. Well, no, I want to go back and ask you one question. You mentioned because you're doing it all yourself. What was it like casting you? What was it like for you to cast uh, um, your cast for Barnes Funeral Home?
Um, it was it went pretty good actually. It went better than I thought. I like I said, that one night that I sat and was like, this is gonna happen. I'm going to make this happen. And the very next day, it was before I started Indiegogo. It was before I started doing things to raise money. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and cast this to put the fire under me, basically. Um, so I'll definitely get this done. So I actually went ahead and cast for it. And that process was basically just putting stuff out on Facebook. And then the next day, I looked at my email and I had all these auditions, all these people wanting an audition. So I sent them the people that I thought would be fitting. I sent them part of the script and had them do a self tape. So it was a fun experience. It really was. And then even down to the last couple of days, I had a woman drop out. Had two of them drop out actually, and then I had to refill them quicker than that because I started it about 5 or 6 months before I was going to film it. So I
Yeah,
had
you started learning the world of indie filmmaking in a hurry, didn't you?
I
It's
did.
a common theme about indie filmmakers. One of the things I hear a lot of them tell me about is cast members dropping out or crew members dropping out. They can make it's just like wow. Um, that must be sort of frustrating though.
It was frustrating. It really was. But I mean, I took it as what it was. They said that the one lady told me she got a better role in a SAG project. So I said, "Oh, well, congratulations. That's amazing." So I'm not going to fault you for it. And so I just recast quickly, and I didn't have to recast my leads, thank God. I didn't have to recast pretty much everybody with a big part. I just had it was the one lady laying in the bed, which I got my girlfriend to do, and then there was another one where it was the aunt. If you remember that scene in the beginning, with the on the staircase
Hmm.
with the aunt, I had to recast her.
Oh, okay. You got a legitimate cast. I looked up your movie database page. I thought there was just going to be friends and family, but you had a professional cast. I mean, I basically I take anybody who takes the time to put a picture with their movie database. They're I sort of take that a little bit like they're taking it seriously. I've seen some that just have no faces there. It's just their name, and they don't even have an avatar up there. I mean, it's like how hard is it for you to put a headshot with your movie your database page? How hard is that? You know, and it's like, but there's so many people out there that just it's just a blank. It's just their name and some credits. It's like I sort of like to see who I'm who I'm watching or who I'm talking to. I just think that people who put their picture up there are showing me that they're taking their career a little bit more seriously than ones that don't. And I noticed that in your cast, at least half of them had they had credits. They had their picture up there, and they've done some work. Hats off to you for casting.
No, thank you.
That's not an easy chore, is it?
No, none of it was easy. Especially the fact that I filmed at a house in Warm Springs and getting everybody trying to get 9 people together hours away from there where they live. That's a feat within itself too.
Now I got to
But
ask you two questions. I got to ask you two questions real quick, if I may. One, did you pay him anything? And
mhm.
two, what did you feed him?
Oh gosh, I did pay everybody, and we had a caterer actually come out, and my girlfriend did crafty, real nice. I think I might have some pictures of it somewhere, but she did the crafty, and it was nice, all on the table and everything. and sandwiches and all kinds of different things. And the catering was, we catered from this place called Rudine's. I forget where it is, but we did do catering.
Now you're probably wondering to the chat, they're probably wondering, well, why did you ask that question? Um, because Chad Rick and I can both tell you, if you go inside any acting group on Facebook, um, a lot of times you'll see, you'll see people looking for, they're doing a short film, and they always say that they can't pay anybody, uh, and they can't pay you, but they can. But it's good. But it's good experience, and you can get a credit on your movie database page. Um, yeah, I don't really have much respect for directors who do that. Do you? Don't you feel as a director, as a producer, you sort of have a responsibility because you're being you're a professional. You consider yourself a professional performer, an artist, and you would want to get paid for what you do. And I think it's very commendable and very professional that you made sure that you took care of your cast. You and I, like I said, you and I both have seen plenty of projects that sit there and say, I can't pay you anything. And those are the projects that never get done. If you ever notice that, a lot of them, they never see the light of day. And whereas you may have only had like two people drop out of your project, they pretty much always have the whole. I'm sure there's plenty of people that would get up in the morning and go like, wow, do I really want to drive 5 hours for nothing? You know,
Yeah, I try and give everybody as much as I can,
sure.
but I do at least give them something.
It's the gesture, it's the effort. When it's the fact that you're making an effort to pay your cast and crew, you'll always have them. They'll be loyal to you. They'll look at you and say, okay, you know what? He might not have had a lot, but whatever he had, he gave it to me. You know, and they feel much better for that because when they're driving home, you have done not only have you directed them in a film or in critical scenes, but you made them feel like a professional. I'm a working actor. I got paid. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, it might be $25, it might be $40, whatever it was, but they got something from you, and you made sure that they did, and you fed them.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just really impressive. I mean, much respect to you, Chadwick, for that.
Thank you.
What are some of the difficulties during the shoot of Barnes Funeral Home? How did you? I mean, where did you shoot it at? Was it at your house? Was it at a? Did you get a chance to actually use a funeral home?
No, I actually have a friend that I go to church with, and his parents owned Airbnb in Warm Springs, and it was a real big, nice house. So I kind of played it off as it could be a funeral home, this by the way it looked and everything. Um, so we filmed there.
Uh, hey, Nate, from the NDT show. Welcome in, sir. Welcome. Uh, where did you get your cast at, though? I mean, did you cast it straight from Facebook, or was this all within Gainesville, or Atlanta?
It was all within Atlanta off of Facebook.
Okay, okay.
Everybody was from Atlanta.
Now, have you been down there yourself to Atlanta? I mean, you go down there on your days off, and you ever go down there just to, see if there's any action going on, any shooting going on?
Not really. I just got like the movie that I just did, No Place to Rest. I went down there for that, and I've done some background work that I went down there for.
What's No Place to Rest about?
Basically, without giving away anything, um, I'll just tell you about I'll just tell you about my part of it. And I play a guy named Donnie, and he's not the um, brightest person, but he's in like a Dixie Mafia gang, uh, and it's headed by this guy named Luther. So that's the part that I play in it.
So you're strictly an actor in this one.
I am.
Okay. Okay. Now, now are you trying to get out of acting altogether and just slide behind the camera? Is that
No,
the goal?
no. I actually, I just got an agent, acting agent.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I found that out last Monday. Um, so I'm trying to get more into. I'm trying to get more into acting. I'm trying to get more into writing, because that's the two things that I want to do more than anything.
So screenwriting and acting would probably be your. So I mean, I thought maybe it was a screenwriter director, but you want to be you want to try to do acting. Where are you taking any classes now?
Not at the moment. I went to the actor scene in Buford all last year though.
Okay.
I just haven't started back up yet. But I just with writing and doing this and doing that and everything I've had going on, I just haven't gotten back into it. But I do plan on it.
What do you enjoy about acting class, and how would you describe your style of acting?
The style of acting that they do is the Meisner repetitive method. Um, but my favorite thing is probably, oddly enough, something I'm not that I feel I'm not the best at, which is improv. Um, that is probably my favorite part of the class because at the end of every class, because we used to do them on Monday night, at the end of every night, we would do improv for like 15, 30 minutes. And I really enjoyed the improv. I just didn't think I was that great at it.
Well, you know that whenever you do an interview, you're doing improv.
I was just thinking about that. That you
That's
mentioned.
exactly what it is. That's exactly what you're doing. You're improvising right now because there's nothing you don't know what's coming at you, and you have to react to it right when it happens to you. So, so there you go. Well, let me ask you as a screenwriter, though. Let me ask you as a screenwriter, if you wrote a script and you gave it into the director and say, "Here's my script for the movie," and then all of a sudden a couple of the actors get on there and they say, "You know what?" and they started riffing instead of doing the words on your page. How are you okay with them improvising on you, or would you rather them do the script that you spent hours and hours and hours writing?
Personally, I like everybody to stick to the script.
Hmm.
Uh, like even with Barnes Funeral Home, there was no improv whatsoever. With Malcolm, I think he may have added like one sentence in the whole movie. He just asked me. He was like, "Can I change this sentence around?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." Because he wasn't trying to change my entire script. It was just that one little thing. So I told him it was all right. But I do like everybody to stick to the script because if I wanted to do improv, I would tell them, "Hey, let's improv this whole thing." So
Right, right. Let's just throw the script out with the baby water and just riff.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
but going back to Malcolm, though, I mean, that how are you? I mean, I'm just curious now because I'm thinking about it. Are you going to make him? Oh yeah, is he? Oh, how hard is it for you to write about a multi-chapter a multi-chapter series about a serial killer? I mean, what's the motivation for your audience to watch it?
The motivation for my audience to watch it.
Yeah. Why am I going to watch a
Uh,
story about a serial killer? What do you got for me? What are you going to get? What are you going to give me as an audience member? What's the catch for me to watch it? I mean,
well, the thing about it is it's essentially about mental illness and mental. I'm not going to go to say as far to say that the movie's about mental illness awareness, but it's something that I feel that I don't see. Like you said, something about Split. I think I've seen that movie once. I don't remember much about it, but Malcolm's nothing like that movie. Um, but I just feel like I don't see that too often. I just see slasher movies. I don't see thrillers, psychological thrillers that people have mental illness. I don't know. I'm sure it's out there, but I just don't see it much.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, some of the most famous. I mean, there's. I don't necessarily. I could see that. I mean, I could. You know, it's a really fine line. I mean, you got. I mean, if you really want to think about it, you can go to watch Dexter. I mean, Dexter is totally about a mental illness. He's a sociopath.
yeah.
And I mean, but as far as getting into his psyche, you know, I mean, to me, it's like, I mean, is he a serial killer? Or like, who is he killed? And you know, basically, it's easier to watch a project. I feel it's easier. Like if he kills a bad guy, if he killed a cellmate, no one cares. Everybody would probably cheer for him. You know, it's like hell yeah. But if he goes out and he kills like an innocent person, what's the motivation as a writer? Like if someone, you know, like what's the motivation to keep people coming to watch it? Because whereas Friday the 13th and Freddy, I mean, they're a bigger than life characters. They're just obviously they're fantasy characters. They're not to be taken seriously. But Malcolm sounds more rooted, much more rooted in reality. Like this could happen every day to, you know, with somebody you know. And I think for a lot of people, believe it or not, I think that makes them more uncomfortable because it could happen more than watching Freddy, who you know, who you look at that, and a lot of people can see that as a cartoon. I'm asking you as a writer, how do you, what the challenge is, how do you get your audience to keep following Malcolm? And are we watching him to fail? Are we watching him to get caught? Are we watching him to die? What do you, how do you write a character like that?
Well, I want him to essentially do all those things. I want him to get caught. I want him to die. I want him to get better. Um, that's what I'm kind of going for, is him getting his life straightened out eventually.
Can you do it
But
without him? Can you do it without him killing anybody though? I mean, isn't him being a killer the part of the? I mean, I'm just asking as a writer, so I'm trying to understand it because I mean, because it's difficult. I'm admiring the fact that you're taking on a character like that. It's a pretty strong, ambitious project. You have to admit. Um, and I'm just trying to figure out, you know, how did you get to the place where you could write about that character, and how do you get us as an audience to follow him?
I think that the first one basically set everything up for everything that's going to happen in the next one. And
Okay,
then I just feel like I've started something decent, is the best way to explain it.
okay.
Because I I couldn't believe that I actually started the web series to begin with, because I've been so down on myself for so long and telling everybody there's no way I could ever write a web series, and talking to people that actually have done them. And then I just took it on as to writing just, well, inevitably there's going to be seven of them, and seven short films basically.
Um,
But
about 12 to 15 minutes long.
about 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay, okay. And then once you get it done, then you can condense it, and then you could edit it and make it one feature length.
I thought about that.
You can kill two birds with one stone. You could learn as you go and doing your chapters, and then after the chapters are done, then you go back there. Have you learned? Have you sat in and edited anything yet? I know
I
editing is one thing directors they don't really like to do. They like to give it to the editor, and I mean they don't like to do themselves. They like to give it to a professional editor. Do you like editing your own projects, or do you hand it off to somebody else?
Barnes Funeral Home, I did edit that, but the guy that stars in Malcolm, that plays Malcolm, he actually edited Changing Malcolm. He really wanted to do it. And, I really, like you said, I really didn't want to do it, so it kind of worked out.
Now, are you going to sit in and watch him see how he does it?
No, I I I trust the way, like we work well together, and he knows what I'm looking for, and it seems like he knows what I'm looking for before I even ask him. So that's why I want to do this whole series with him, because he just knows. It's kind of weird, but he just knows what I'm looking for.
That's good, though. I mean, that's good that you guys are in sync with each other.
Yeah, definitely.
I mentioned earlier if you gone down to Atlanta just to hang out or whatnot, if that's something you plan on doing in the future, though. I mean, as the pandemic eases up, hopefully, the pandemic eases up a little bit. Is that something you would do, just to go down there? And because it's got to be a ton of independent features going on down there. How do you network? What do you do? How do you network for you?
Um, I just I got two roles. I met these guys. They were looking for somebody to do a skit with them a year ago, and
Okay.
it was where I basically played a dumb cop undercover, and I did that skit with them. And then I just, when people ask for a reel or whatever, I don't have a reel yet, but I send them that, and that got me two different roles that I just recently did, which was exciting. But as to going down to Atlanta, I don't really know. I don't really, honestly, I don't really get out that much because I like writing. Um, but I just, when I look for stuff, I just look for stuff online. And now, since I got an agent, I have to be part of five different casting websites. So I've been getting all those straight and set up for myself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, he'll be happy you're doing this.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, he'll be. What's your agent's name?
Laura.
Laura. Okay. Well, Laura, Chadwick's doing very well, don't you think? So I know that she'll be watching this, and we'll give her a little shout out there. Um, yeah, yeah. There you go. What's it like? What was it like? How did you end up getting Laura as your agent?
I went through a showcase with my acting school that I was going to in Buford, the actor scene, and I didn't hear anything from her for quite a while. And then out of the blue, she sent me a message and asked me if I was still looking for representation. And then I just sent her an email and told her about No Place to Rest, about the Malcolm series, about everything that I had been working on. And she sent me a contract. So that's how that happened.
Oh yeah, contracts. Yep, yep. Just make sure that make sure in your contracts, make sure you have a little rider there that any project you go in on, you get served blue M&Ms, and okay, so maybe that happens with rock stars, but you know what I'm saying. Um, well, that's good though. I mean, how important is it? I mean, how important would you say is now when you did your casting for Barnes Funeral Home? Did you go through any agents, or did you just go? Did you have to go through work with any agencies, or did you just work with the actors directly?
I just worked with all the actors directly. Few of them had agents, but you can still look for your own work.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Um. What three directors do you find yourself admiring the most? I mean, besides you mentioned Toby Hooper.
Toby Hooper, Stanley Kubrick. I love The Shining. Um, I like Wes Craven, of course. Um, Fell in love with him with Scream. Of course, I did.
Of course.
And Who else? I can't really think of anybody at the moment, but those are my favorite ones. Those
Now,
two.
do you find yourself emulating anybody's style? I mean, do you like, do you believe in just doing a lot of, do you believe in doing a lot of takes, or are you just a one or two take guy and then out of there?
I
Time to
try and I try and I try and do what's necessary. I don't see a reason to do a bunch of takes over and over and over and over. Um, but I don't see a reason to just do one or two. But I just do what I feel. Now, if it takes one or two, then that's perfect. I mean, I'm not against it if it works. But if it doesn't work, I want to make it work.
Now, how do you, when, when actors, has any actors come to you and sit there and ask for your direction as far as, a lot of, like, how do you want me to play the scene, or am I playing it correctly? Is there anything that you want that I can give to you? I mean, has that happened yet? I mean, how do you help actors improve themselves?
Um, I've had the guy that plays Malcolm. I've had him in the very beginning. We had a meeting with each other, and he asked me what I was looking for with the character, and I think that's what maybe set everything to go where me and him were more in sync with the character and what I was looking for. And um, in Barnes Funeral Home, the guy that played the brother, he asked me to do a Zoom meeting with him one day, and he asked me what I was looking for with the character. And then with him, I told him to basically what I was looking for, which was really selfish, really shy, confused person. And then I told him to just kind of go with it. And with Alex, um, the guy that plays Malcolm, um, we sat and we talked about we tried to come up with a little bit of a backstory. Well, he came up with one, and that was another thing I told Kyler was about a little bit of a backstory because the guy grew up in a mental institution. He supposedly had killed his parents when he was a kid, and all this stuff. So then that's something I learned in my acting class.
Um, are you gonna be playing a part in this movie in Malcolm? Or are you gonna be, are you gonna try to act in it as well? Or are you just gonna strictly just behind the camera?
Yeah, I'm gonna do behind the camera and the writing. I don't want to be in my own movies. It's just something that I feel I don't. I feel like I'm the writer and the director. I don't feel like I'm the
Yeah,
actor.
yeah, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't. Just thinking about it, I don't even. I don't even like.
What are three things about your what are three things you feel like you could improve on as far as screenwriting or directing or
Okay. Um, I can definitely maybe when it comes to my writing, I can slow down a little bit, even though I already know where I'm going with it. I really do. Um, I think I could slow down a little bit and maybe write something in 2 days instead of one. With my directing, um, I could probably be, which I haven't really needed to be uh, as assertive as most directors are because everybody's been compliant, I guess, with whatever I've needed. And acting, I just need to do more of it.
right, right. Um, what are three aspects of your acting that you could work on? What are three roles that what are three parts of acting that you could feel that are your strongest and that you could work on?
Um, my
Like
strongest
you
is
mentioned
probably
improv as being the one you need to work on, but what are two other parts of acting that you feel like you can improve on? And then what are three parts of your acting that you really do like?
Um, what I really like about acting is just getting in a different mindset. I really like that aspect of it. When I read for a character, I just try and mentally live it, even though that's not the what they taught us in acting school. But that's what I like to do. I like to mentally live the character, and um, I think that I could probably work more on. Oh man, you stumped me there. Uh,
How about this as a director or as an actor? Is there any scene that you would feel most uncomfortable playing?
Uncomfortable playing. Um, I could say I'm not much for wanting to do any kind of nudity. I would feel pretty uncomfortable doing that.
And that means you wouldn't write it either, then.
I did write it into, um, wrote some into Barnes Funeral Home, but once I cast for it and I met everybody, I was like, no, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change that. So
Good.
I don't write that anymore into my scripts.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that, like, you know what? I'm one of those people that, like, if you're gonna write to ask somebody to do something, you better be prepared to do it yourself. So you know, that's how I feel. You know, you're gonna ask somebody to bare their soul, you know, go nude. Then you know, now there's some actors that have actually, there's actually been some directors that have actually done that. There's actually been some directors that have written their part, and and he's actually gone in there naked to make his actors feel more comfortable, and it worked. I wouldn't recommend that, but I like the dedication. Hey,
Yeah,
hey, She Wines, how are you? We're talking with our good friend Chad Rick here. He's talking about his process. He's a young actor and director just getting going. He's got a couple of projects up and running. And so we're catching him at the very, very beginning of his career. So this is like sort of like catching lightning in a bottle, so to speak. Most of the time, most of the people I talk to, they've already had some experience and credits and all that other good stuff. It's just really refreshing to actually do something with somebody who's just ready to take off. So I'm really excited to do this tonight. Uh,
but another thing that I like about acting is that I get to be somebody else. Not that I'm not comfortable per se with myself, but I'm more comfortable being a different character than I am being myself. If that makes any sense.
it does. Um, I gotta mention this. Oh, she Wise says, "Hi, Chad Rick. Pleased to meet you." I will say this too to everybody in the in the chat here. As I see there's some new faces here. If you want to connect with everybody in the chat, please do so. And if you haven't subscribed to us, I'm going to put in Chad Rick's personal his information down his channel down below as soon as we get done here. Uh, Feel free to connect among yourselves. Um, you know, we're here to get stronger. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to me, well, I hope that's the first thing you do. I don't do that enough. I mentioned that last interview. I mentioned that last time. I don't tell people to subscribe to me enough. I'm so interested on doing the interview and making sure I don't mess it up that I don't think about asking people to sub to me or share me out. Um, you know, hey, tell your friends about us. I don't really do that, so I got to learn how to do that. It's sort of weird because it makes me sort of self-conscious. Like it's not about me or the cheetah; it's about the whoever I'm talking with. Um, but in order to do a better show, I like to think that I need some more people. So I got to learn how to promote myself because I'm not very good at it. Uh, so okay, yeah, that's you know I have to mention this because this blew my mind. This this blows my mind, and I'm gonna have to bring it up again because I think of all the stories I've heard so far, his has been the best as far as letting a character go. I talked to an actor named Dustin Ardeen a couple of weeks ago, and he's a method actor, and he was he was saying how when he was in high school, he did on the waterfront, and he was already method already, and he gained weight to play the bartender. And I asked him, I said, well, how do you let go of a character? Because to me, whenever you do method, that's the hardest part. It's like you have to be able to let go of a character. It's a you want to. It's not. I know it's not as simple as going up to somebody and saying, dude, it's just a role, because it's not nearly as simple as that. You're right. I mean, when you want to inhabit that person, you want to become that person. But I think you got to become that person within a limit. Like I can get there, but I got to have a barrier. I got to have a boundary. I can't go past that boundary. Um, and I really like Courtney Gaines, who I did interview with, and I really like the fact that he said what he does is that he goes in front of a camera. As soon as his part's over with, he's wrapped. He's done. He goes inside of a mirror. He congratulates himself. He says he did a great job. He did the best job he possibly could. And then he gives himself, then he claps his hands. He basically gives himself a self applause. And then he just shakes his hands and says, that's it. He's over with. He walks out of the trailer and he leaves that person behind, the role that he was in. I think that's safe, and I think that's responsible. Um, Finding people that are gaining 40 pounds to play a part, or 50 pounds, and then or losing 50 pounds, or 60 pounds. I don't know. That just scares the poo out of me thinking about that. I mean, I know I admire the dedication, but still, it's like it's it is scary. Um, yeah, that's you're gonna. I guess it's gonna be really interesting. Let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this as a director. So you're working with a budget. So I asked this with Joe Lujan, and I asked this with Jeff Kirkendall and John Oak Dalton. I'll ask you this question too. What's more important as an independent filmmaker? Is it more important to have $500 in your hand and shoot your movie with $500, or wait until you get $1,000, then go shoot your movie? What's more important to you, to hurry up and once you get that money, to go shoot it now, or wait a little bit and get more money and then shoot it later?
Well, what I learned from Barnes Funeral Home was that it didn't really matter with what I do. It didn't really matter because I had spent about $5,000 on that, and I'm running the Malcolm series off of $350 each episode. So I say that it doesn't take a bunch of money to make a quality movie.
I agree to some extent. I agree with that. I feel like Joe Lujan, he mentioned how he shot his movie Rust on $200, and that movie looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing. He did a lot of it. He did a lot of the work himself. He shot the film. He wrote, directed, shot it. He did set construction and whatnot for $200. But I've also seen a lot of movies where the movie is just not very good because it looks absolutely rushed. It looks like it seems more important that the director gets his money in his hand, no matter how much it is, and then he goes to shoots what he has. And to me, it's just, I just feel like you don't have to have a lot of money. It's just how you use your money. To me, it's like, okay, you got $500, you raise $500, you're capable of doing that. So why not just wait a little longer and raise up a bigger budget, because then you can do more with it. You get more movie with your budget, even though it's no budget. you still could do a lot more with 1,000 than you can with 500, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can. I mean, I see your point of view. I just from experience with trying to make a movie with $5,000 and then making one with 350, and that's paying the few people that's in it, and then having Crafty. It's roughly $350 to do that. Um, I just I just think that I just didn't need. I guess maybe Barnes Funeral Home may have turned out a little bit better if I hadn't have spent so much money on it. I don't know.
Well, you know what though, but you know, in that one, I'll help you defend yourself on that. I think for it was your first time, right? It's your first project. I think it was good that you spent a little extra money on doing that. You know, you spent $5,000, and you know, you try to do it right. You did a professional set, a professional shoot. You know, you paid your artist. You know, you took care of them. You know, yeah, it was like I said, the movie's a little rough, but it's your first one. You know, you were learning as you went. So
Yeah,
if you take the to look at that, if look at the more like, don't look at the movie as like, don't look at the money as I spent a lot of money making that movie. I would look at it, you spent a lot of money investing in yourself, because
that is
you
true.
invested in yourself to make yourself a better director, a better screenwriter, and able to. I mean, look at all the lessons you learned. One, you hire a DP. Two, you get an editor. You know, three, you took care of your artist. You know, those are all priceless lessons. You can't pay to learn that. You got to, you know, you gain that. Now you have something more valuable than $5,000. You have experience. Hi, Mr. Dan and Hor. We're talking to actor, screenwriter, director Chad Rick Whitmire. We're talking about his career is just getting ready to go off, and we're talking to him about his projects. He's going to be shooting a new web series. What's the title? What's the proper title? It's Changing Malcolm, right? Changing Malcolm is the title of the web series.
Um, I'm actually naming every what I haven't really come up with the fact if I want to keep it called Changing Malcolm. I think I may, because the next one's called Chasing Malcolm and then Interrogating Malcolm. So everything's just got Malcolm on the end of it right now.
Maybe you just call it Malcolm and then have each short segment like a chapter. You know, chapter
Yeah,
one. Okay. Yeah.
that sounds good.
Yeah. That. Who's the actor you got playing Malcolm?
His name's Alex Javo.
And where did you meet him at?
Um, we did a screening, short film screening in Atlanta a couple months back. Well, I guess it's been about 3 or 4 months ago now. And they actually did show my trailer for Barnes Funeral Home, which was really nice of them. But we met him there, and we got to talking, and then come to find out he only lived right down the street from me.
Oh gosh, isn't that's fate?
I know he lives in a place called Flowery Branch.
Uh, Mr. Bones is in the house. Hello, Mr. Bones. He says, well, hello there, Clarice. I mean, Cheetah. Yeah, believe me, Hannibal Lecter wants no part of the Cheetah. None. I think it would be the Cheetah feasting on a liver with a bowl full of a Shante. He's sitting underneath my chair, swiping at my feet. That's why I'm moving, because he's bunting me.
Wow.
Yeah, he's starting to learn when I do these interviews. He started to learn to come up to bump me and stuff, and let us presidents know, and like biting the cord and stuff.
I got a little
So
cat.
yeah, yeah, you know, I just wait till you have to work. What's the saying? What's that saying? There's two things you never try to do in Hollywood: never work with kids and never work with animals. Um,
Yeah, I had a little girl in Barnes Funeral Home that played young Anna,
right, right.
but she was cool. Her mom came with her and everything, and it all worked out.
Uh, hey, Derek, how are you? Derek's here. Halloween PDX is in the house. Um, I'm so happy to see him. He's been dropping some super cool content lately. Should be actually, and we're talking to Chad Rick Whitmire. He's talking about his new project. Um, for now, I guess we're calling it Changing Malcolm until we figure out the new title for it. When are you going to start filming it?
Where do I film it?
No, when are you going
Uh,
to start filming it?
oh, uh, I got the one already, and I'm filming part two October 9th.
Okay. Are you going to try to get it? Are you going to film the entire series, then release
No,
it a chapter at a time?
just do it one at a time. Like I plan on doing the second one October 9th, and then I want to film the third one, which I've already written. I want to film it late December, early January.
Okay.
So I'm kind of spacing it out in a way.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and then I'm gonna go from there, see what's going on after that. That's how far I've gotten up to where I know that where I want to film. But after that, I haven't written part four yet. So depending on, I guess, the budget for it, because it's gonna be at a different place. Depending on that is when I'll film part four.
Where you gonna film the movie at?
I've been filming it at my apartment.
Oh, really? Well, that's clever.
Yeah, that's why the first time I did it, I was like, I'm gonna kind of write a good character with what I've got to work with at this present moment.
Now, what are some of the pros and cons of working in such a tight space, though? I mean, do you find yourself hampered by it, or the small space? I mean, do you have enough room for lighting and your camera? I mean, or you have to.
Yeah, there's enough room. We filmed some stuff in my bedroom, which there's enough room in there, and then in the living room. The it's still not very it's not very big. I have a one bedroom apartment, but um, everything fit. The lighting crew was fine and everything like that.
No, I mean, you don't have to go into specifics, but do you work a regular 9 to 5 job to when you're not filming?
I do.
Okay. Do you tell people you're a filmmaker?
I tell people all the time. I give my card.
Oh, okay. Got a business card. Okay, that's good. That's good. How do they react when you tell them that you're indie filmmaker?
Everybody is excited for me. Um, like the one job I used to have, they would come up and ask me if I was filming anything recently, or if I had filmed anything recently, or if I was going to, what's been going on. A few of the people there were interested, but everybody was all excited about me getting an agent the other day. Um, so everybody's always supportive. I haven't had anybody, to my knowledge, um, be unsupportive.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. Your parents are totally into it. I mean, that's the best part, right?
Yeah. I remember my
Um,
dad and stepmom used to come and sit on the front row watching me at the community theater.
I like the fact you did the. How do you like working how did you like working in a live theater versus a film project? What was
I
more
love
challenging for
film.
you?
I love film so much better because it allows you to get into the character, and it allows you to mess up if you have to. But you can't
Especially
mess up
now,
during live theater.
especially with digital cameras, right?
Yes.
Um, we're going to open up the chat now for some questions. If you have some questions to ask Chadwick, please feel free to drop a few questions in for this young man. He's just launching his career. We were really lucky to get him here to talk to us, catching lightning in a bottle. So if you have a couple of questions about his process, about his career, we'd love to share your questions with him. What kind of movies? I mean, what kind of movies do you like seeing when you're not working? I mean, is it always just strictly horror and thrillers?
No, I watch I've been known to watch a romantic comedy every now and again. I tend to watch like a lot of movies on Tubi.
Okay.
I like to watch that when I'm going to bed every night.
We got some questions going in. All right, I love this. Uh, She Wise asking, who is your dream actor or actress to work with?
Marissa Tomei.
Okay.
And that's my actress. And the actor is definitely Bill Moseley.
Bill Moseley.
I love Bill Moseley.
Yeah, Bill Moseley's solid, and Marissa Tomei is beautiful. Those are two very good. Now, are those two actors who you like to act in a scene with, or would those be two actors you'd like to direct? Because that is two different.
I would love to direct them too.
Okay, who would you like to act in a scene with?
Who I would like to act in a scene with?
Actor and actress.
Oh man, I've never really thought about that. Clint Eastwood would be really great.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood would be really great. Now, woman wise, I know this is kind of weird, but I always had a little thing for the woman on 2.5 Men. Have you ever seen 2.5 Men?
Yeah.
You know Chelsea on 2.5 Men?
Was that Courtney Smith?
No, that was Lindsay. She played, her name's Jennifer Taylor.
Okay.
But she plays the woman that Charlie's with for a long time, and they're about to get married and everything. The dark-haired woman. Probably her, Jennifer Taylor.
Okay.
Because I'm obsessed with that show.
Steven's asking us, I may have missed it, but what is the Malcolm series going to be about? That is Malcolm is going to be well, I'll let you explain that. I don't.
Malcolm is a schizophrenic serial killer that is fighting a voice within himself and trying to lead a normal life, but not having much luck at it.
Let's see. Malcolm in the middle. Malcolm in the middle. You're not the boss of me now. I have never watched that movie. I never watched that series. I know what it is, but I never watched it. I only saw like a couple episodes of 2.5 Men. I know Holland Taylor was on it. Play the mom. I loved her. Holland Taylor was the queen. She was awesome. She was hilarious.
I'd love to do a scene with her too.
Oh, Holland Taylor, yes, yeah, she'd definitely be someone I would love to. She's so imperious and so so sassy. She's fun to watch. Yes. Now, as far as what are you writing besides Malcolm? You got anything else down the pipeline you're looking at, or it's just Malcolm going to take up all your time?
Right now it's just Malcolm, but I wrote that short last week called Construction Crews. And like I said, there's a group of guys that are going to make that. I wrote that for them. They're going to make that in October.
Okay. Let's see. She Wines mentions, as a director, do you prefer actors who? Yes, we already established that he likes his actors to stick to the script, no improv. Let's see. Oh, I think me and Steven are we think alike here. He says, "Oh, cool. Were you inspired to write that from Dexter? He wasn't a schizo. He wasn't a schizo. Did you decide to add? Did you decide to make Malcolm a schizophrenic? How did you decide to make Malcolm a schizophrenic?
Based off of a friend of mine.
Friend of his. Okay.
But I've never seen Dexter before, so I don't know what that's about.
Looks like your friend Johnny Ray came in there. He says, "Hey, Chadwick." Good, good. Hi, Johnny. How are you? Glad you're here. Feel free to drop Chadwick a question. Is Johnny Ray part of your is Johnny Ray part of your acting group or community in Georgia?
He's actually gonna be DPing the rest of the series.
Oh, so this is a very important person we're talking about. We're talking a crew member here.
Yes, definitely a very important person.
Okay, Johnny Ray, let me tell you, you can go back and watch replay. Chadwick has done nothing but shower you with love. He says that you are the man. He says, "Hey Chadwick, this series will be great, and each episode will get better and better." Well, of course, now you got now that you got a good DP back there, kicking butt. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys connected. And like I said before, Chadwick, it takes a lot of courage to sit there as a craftsman, as an artist, to sit there and say, I can't do this. I don't have enough experience. It's not that I don't think you can do it. I think you can. You just don't have enough experience. So you go with a professional like Johnny, you watch what he does, not necessarily because you want to do it, but at least you know how to do it. Maybe you won't do it, but at least you'll learn how to do it. So I can appreciate that. I respect that. It takes a lot. I have talked to a lot of directors, a lot of young directors, and they have that bit in their mouth that they want to do everything, and a lot of them end up doing nothing because I'd rather be a master of one task than mediocrity at many. So yes, you'll have to check replay. Yes, he's already said that you are the man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, Dan. What I really am excited about is going to be a web series, and we talked about this, that there's just no web series out there, especially a horror web series. I mean, the chance for actually someone to get out there and do this, it's going to be so cool. I'm excited. And then is it a possibility, Chadwick, that after you get the series completed and you air it, that you'll home release it?
I don't really know much about the logistics of releasing it in different venues. I just know YouTube and stuff like that.
I was just thinking you could just burn off, DVD copies so that people could keep for their home, for their collections.
Oh, yeah, I could do that.
Okay, good. So in
and I would send you one too.
Yeah, I definitely want it. I definitely would. I would definitely like that, very much so. Let's see. Johnny Ray saying Chadwick is awesome, very talented. Yes, he is. And one other thing I have to sit there and say, one of the reasons I have to say that Chadwick is a very big supporter of all of us. You do believe in supporting other artists. I think that's really crucial and vital that you do that. You come out and watch other people's work, whether it be here on the tube or anywhere else. And I think that's really important that you do that. Too many people are really, in acting, you have to admit, in showbiz, a lot of the people, and I think it's by necessity, but they tend to have, blinders on. They're so worried about what they're doing, they don't see anybody else. And I don't really get that impression from you. I get the impression that you're looking at everybody's work, and that's really refreshing. Sean's in the house. Yes, he has business cards. Stephen, Chadwick carries business cards. We're talking about the importance of business cards. Me and Stephen were talking about that a little while ago, and business cards are very important. Okay, what is the best place to eat in Gainesville?
The best place to eat in Gainesville,
other than the apartment?
I like a restaurant called El Sombrero. It's a Mexican restaurant.
What's the best dish they serve there?
Can you see that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, your card. Okay, your business card. I can't see what's on it, but I can see the card in your hand.
I always get burrito and taco. I don't know exactly what it's called, but number something.
Let's see. Oh, right, right. Oh, being promote and sell DVDs, but cards are always helpful. Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah. Have you been to? Have you ever been to a convention, a horror convention, Chadwick? Oh, yes. Now we see it. Wow, very professional. Cover up your phone number though when you pull it back. We don't need to see your phone number. Um. Yeah. Have you ever been to a horror convention?
No,
Oh
I've
my
thought
God.
about it. I've thought about it because I always want to meet Bill Moseley.
Right, 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 right. Um. Yeah, I want to meet Debbie Rochon. Again.
Yes.
I want to
Oh
meet
my
Debbie Rochon again.
God.
I think me and Steven we're gonna have a throwdown. We're gonna see which one can get her to come on our shows first. Uh, uh,
I'll be there whenever.
yeah,
Whenever.
I think we're gonna have a showdown for that one. Uh,
I like that movie. I used to own it. Years ago. It was called Bleed. I don't remember what it was about, but I remember her being in it, and that's when I fell in love with her. And then I saw her in Jimmy O. Burrell. Uh, he's uh, he's a filmmaker,
okay,
and he's got her in a movie called The Good Sisters.
okay, yeah, I love Debbie Rochon. I think she's very talented. Um, I feel bad in the sense that she's done so many, she's done so much dreck and drab. I mean, and low budget. A lot of the movies she's done have not been very good. She's actually been the best part of just about like 90% of her movies. But it really hurts because I really would like to see her get into a real project, so people can see how good of an actress she really is.
Apparently, she writes too, because I was watching this movie and and her name popped up on there one day, and I caught it kind of just off to the corner of my eye, and so I watched this entire movie thinking that she's going to be in it, and then it said written by.
Yeah, I think with Model Hunger, she wrote. I think she wrote and directed that. She also wrote for Fangoria. She wrote for
Oh, really?
Fangoria, her and Dee Snider, and then her and Dee Snider had a podcast together. In fact, they were one of the very first. They were one of the very first podcasts that would launch. It was like a radio program, and they were one of the very first ones to do it.
Oh, wow.
Um, it's, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong. Yeah, all right. I already got you tonight, though, didn't I? See, I got Chadrick. See, I got skills. Steven is the Horror Freak 85. He also hosts the House of Horrors every Saturday night from 7 to 9. Um, you can go ahead and connect with Steven. I highly recommend it. His shows are really, really good. I'm promoting another person here on my channel, but that's because he's skilled, and his shows definitely deserve the audiences. He's got some awesome guests coming in, and so yeah. In fact, I have a feeling within a couple of months, Chadrick, you will probably be on his show talking about Malcolm again once you premiere the first two chapters. Let's see. Wow, this time has flown by.
It
Time has
really has.
It really has. I told you it was going to be a lot of fun.
It
Um,
was.
let's get a few more questions for our guests before we wrap this up. Johnny Ray saying he's had yep. Oh, thank you so much. I always don't want to say she win, but it's she wine. She wine. Thank you so much. And Johnny Ray, yep, totally get that. Yep. He's gonna get you the next one. Steven's gonna get you after the web series hits. That's awesome. I appreciate that, Steven. Chadwick's been an excellent interview. I've had a lot of fun. Let's see. I'm going to check the chat for one last round of questions, and then if there's none, I will let you go. Oh, wait a minute! Before I let everybody go, there is something I did not do. And so while you guys are thinking about your last round of questions for Chad Rick, you know what's coming. The calendar. All right, so please, before we go, let me drop some names here for you. So tomorrow at 12 o'clock, 12 noon, Ashleen Clark will be here. That's gonna be a really short interview. I only get her for 45 minutes. So, but it'll be a really good one. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna be talking a mile a minute because I want to get as many questions as I can in. Hello, Kevin. How are you, sir? Welcome. I shared it out on Reddit and I gave you credit to that, as I always do. Thank you so much. Kevin always lets me. He lets all of us YouTubers who support Tuber Chat. He always lets us go to his Reddit and promote our work there. And he also has a Facebook group, which I will put down in the links below. And if you have a project that you want to promote, he's been very gracious enough to do that. So please come and support him. And don't be a dump and runner. Come by, say hi, mingle with the chat or in the group. So I'll do that. I'll do that as soon as the show's over with. On the 16th of September, we have actress Hillary Kerwin will be here. She is the star of a powerful short film called Unicorns, and I cannot wait to talk to her. She's just a really dynamic actress with a lot to say. On the 21st of September, we will be going back to Europe. We're going to Italy to talk to filmmaker, actress, producer Iva Lykos of the final code. That show will start at 2 p.m. And then on the 22nd of September, we have World War II historian and author Chris Buchholz, and he also has a musical pass that we'll be talking about. On the 23rd of September, we have the owner and operator of Nightmare Toys, Christy Adams, will be here at 8 p.m. I cannot wait to talk to Christy. Her store is amazing. She gets amazing guests. She's going to have Tony Todd come by. And I believe by the time that her and I talk, Tony Todd will have already come by her store. So we'll talk about what it was like meeting him. She's also going around doing different conventions and whatnot. But Nightmare Toys in Las Vegas is definitely a place to look at. If you want to get if you're looking for figures, pops, memorabilia, toys, Nightmare Toys has got it all. So we'll be talking to her on this 23rd. On the 28th, we are welcoming Splash with Ariel to the show. Ariel from Splash with Ariel. I cannot wait to talk to her either. She is one of the most delightful young ladies in our community, and her videos are really, really good. I'm really looking forward to talking with her. On the 29th, we have director and wardrobe. I didn't realize this. I looked at her when I did my research, but Candice Carella, who's directing, she directed the movie Unicorn, but she's also a wardrobe costumer, and her credits are off the chain. I've never talked to anybody that's done costume or wardrobes before, so I'm really looking forward to talking to her, and I'm sure you guys will be too. And then on the 30th of September, we have director, screenwriter, and all-around fellow cat lover, Steve Brzezinski from the Carousel series. He just wrapped up Carousel 2, so he'll be here talking to me about all Duke's news and craziest new adventures. Yeah, Carousel 2 is I watched the screener. It is going to be a lot of fun. Steve Rampinski is on target, and Steve Brzezinski, the director, is on target too. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch and talk about. So that's September, boys and girls. All right. Do I have any last questions for Chad Rick? Thank you so much, Kevin. Snoochie Poochies. All right. Well, Chad Rick, I will let you go. I want to thank you, everybody in the chat that came out in support of the show. I want to thank Chad Rick and for sharing his process with us. And you'll see him in if you're doing a stream or if you're doing a show, you will be seeing Chad Rick because he supports a lot of us tubers out here, and we really appreciate it. Hey, Brad, how are you, sir? Your review of Carousel 2 will be out Friday. Good, and you can come back on the 30th and watch our interview with Steve Renzinski. He'll be a hoot, and yeah, looking forward to that very much, and looking forward to your review as well. All right, boys and girls, that's it for us. Hopefully, I will see some of you tomorrow at 12 noon for Ashlyn Clark, and then we'll be back here on Thursday at 8 o'clock, our normal time, for our interview with Hillary Kerwin. Until then, until the next one, peace. Stay right where you're at, Chad Rick.